Everybody ready? Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the City Council Chambers for the City of Virginia. This is a regularly scheduled City Council meeting. We'll call this meeting to order. Today's date is Tuesday, January 28th, 2025. The time is 5:30 p.m. We have a full agenda today with one presenter, and we welcome Mr. Manny from, Scott Manny from the North Star Elementary School to give us an update on the North Star School student program. We're excited to hear about that. Pam, would you please take the roll call?
Johnson,
Here.
Motley,
Here.
Paulson,
Present.
Yondish is absent, Bachschneider is absent, Friedlieb,
Here.
Huffy.
President, would everyone please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And thank you. We do have a quorum tonight to conduct business, so we'll move to item number 4 on the agenda, which is a public forum. This is an opportunity for anyone from the general public to come and address the council this evening. Is there anyone from the audience that would like to address the council this evening? Seeing and hearing none, we'll move to item number 5 on the agenda, which is the consent agenda. The following items will be enacted by one motion unless a councilor or a citizen of the City of Virginia requests that the item be considered separately. Item 5.1 is the approval and correction of the minutes of 5.1A, the council meeting that was held on January 14th, 2025. 5.1B, the public hearing that was held January 14th, 2025. 5.1C, the special meeting that was held January 14th, 2025. 5.2, adopt a financial resolution number 25-002, the schedule of bills. Item 5.3 is approve pay estimate number 8 to Kraus Anderson for the public safety project in the amount of $1,712,732.12. Item 5.4 is to approve the exempt permit for the Mesaba Humane Society to conduct a raffle March 15, 2025 at the Virginia Elks Club. Item 5.5, approve the following travel requests. Item 5.5A, Jody Grebanowski, our library director, to attend the Library Legislative Day, February 19th through the 20th, 2025 in St. Paul at a cost of $268.80. 5.5B, Jody Grebanowski, our library director, to attend the ACRL conference April 2nd through the 5th in Minneapolis at a cost of $275.80. Item 5.5C, Pamela Bean, our city clerk, to attend the MCFOA Regional 2 meeting February 7th, 2025 in Floodwood, Minnesota at a cost of $77.40. Item 5.5D, Annie Bachschneider, newly elected city councilor for the City of Virginia, to attend the League of Minnesota Cities Elected Leaders Institute February 20th through the 22nd, 2025 in Plymouth, Minnesota at a cost of $944. And finally, item 5.6, approve the 2025 massage license to Stephen Lapatka, doing business as Masabi Therapeutic Massage. These are the consent agenda items for the council. Looking for council action.
I will move the consent agenda.
Councilor Johnson moves to approve the consent agenda. Is there support?
Support.
By Councilor Motley. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Moving to item 6, appearances. We have 6.1 appearance on the agenda. We have the privilege to have the principal from the North Star Elementary School, Mr. Scott Manny, to give us an update on the North Star School student program. And welcome, Mr. Manny. And if you just turn that mic to green, and we're ready to go.
All right, that's much better.
Welcome.
Welcome. No, thank you very much. I want you to watch the news story, and then I'll kind of talk about it a little bit.
Okay.
Did something to make our homes or workplaces more welcoming, safer, or as part of a goal called Our School, Our Responsibility. Here's a look.
From shoveling to sharing positivity.
1, 2, 3. Cheese!
Kids at North Star Elementary each assigned a job.
We want the school to be clean, not to be messy and stuff, and we're trying to be responsible to keep it clean.
And they really take pride in it.
So I do some cleaning tables after our lunch for 6th grade, and I also do announcements on Friday with 2 other kids.
This is Avea, Bryn, and Kira coming at you live with Friday, December 6th announcements.
So this is a school-wide initiative to keep our brand new building safe, welcoming, as well as clean, and it's really developing a sense of community amongst the students.
Some of them even put on uniforms. The 3rd graders get aprons as they shine up the place.
Well, but we were wiping our lockers and cleaning up our desks. It teaches us responsibility.
Kids on safety patrol wear something a little brighter.
They line up, we put on our orange vests and we line up and we keep kids behind the yellow line. And so they don't get ran over by cars, buses.
Sometimes it means delivering sweets.
You brought cookies again?
Showering love on a long-term sub. Or showing the younger ones the ropes.
It's a good idea to have our jobs because so then we can teach the 3rd graders how to be responsible.
Like these 6th graders do.
And it teaches them that what they make a mess of, they have to clean. And what they make a mess of, their friends will have to clean. It just keeps everything cleaner.
I like cleaning in general. So helping the 3rd graders was like a big opportunity kind of because I like kids and I like cleaning and stuff.
As for keeping track of all these duties,
over there we have our cleaning stuff and we usually rotate through what we do. Sometimes people will mop the floors down here and up over there.
Yeah.
And then some people will spray the tables and other people will wipe it. And we also spray the chairs.
Each student is shooting for 400 minutes for the year.
It kind of helps mature us kind of, and it helps us prepare for the future.
Since it's a team effort, it makes working way more fun.
I'm friends with all these people, so it's really fun to be able to come in and you get to go clean with them.
This idea I love. I think everyone should have one of these. This is a positivity wall. Kids can leave notes like, you light up the room. And then if you feel like you need to feel a little bit of positivity, you can take it with you.
Their principal, very proud.
100% of the credit of this goes to the North Star staff. And there's been a long-standing tradition on the Iron Range of students giving back, of thinking of more than themselves, and making the community better. So we wanted to bring those traditions back with the opening of our new building.
North Star Elementary just opened in September.
Joke of the day. Why did the music teacher need a ladder? Why? To reach the high notes.
And they are taking really good care of this state-of-the-art space and so many friends.
Many times in education, people talk about what kids can't do. I said, come to North Star Elementary. You'll be able to see what kids can do.
And of course, they'll have a celebration at the end of the school year and even a job fair to figure out next year's assignments. Great job, kids.
I'm interested to see today's weather.
Very good.
With Gemini and Gmail,
No, and I just want to talk about our program a little bit. If you heard me at the end of that, in education, they like to talk about what kids can't do. I'll tell you at North Star what our kids can do. So they've taken a lot of pride in our new building. Because I heard as a principal coming in, well, sometimes the kids aren't going to take care of it. And I said, oh yes, they will. So they clean our building, they make our building safer, they make our building more welcoming. So the kids are doing an amazing job. Plus, we all remember as kids, we had jobs. And we were accountable to those jobs. So it's great that we're teaching that to the next generation of students to be able to have jobs. And what I'm looking for from the city help, is there any residents that are close to North Star Elementary that we can help? You know, whether it's raking, whether it's leaves, whether it's lawn mowing, any of our local people that need some help, we're ready to help, and we have kids that have jobs, but it'd be nice to get those names and make those connections. Because I am very proud to be back in Virginia to school again, and we're very proud of our new school, and we just want to make it one of the shining things for the city. Does anybody have questions?
Just briefly, we'll go back to Councilor Johnson. Yeah, we can provide you a list of names, particularly along 2nd Street South there. There are some elderly people that would need some assistance. I think there's one resident that's 90, two 93 years old that would be fully appreciated for the work that you do. I see you're out there all shoveling snow and off the sidewalks and things. You're already doing that work, so it warms my heart to see that happen. And I think that tradition was started even in the old school when Mr. Holmes, fifth grade, had that. So thank you very much. Councilor Johnson.
Thank you. Mr. Manny, I'm going to set you up for a home run here.
Oh, sweet, I like that.
Would you talk about the scholars as opposed to students, please?
Yes, right now, we're changing the vocabulary of our school. Our students, they're not students, they're scholars. And there's a big difference between a student and a scholar. And we've been spending every week teaching a lesson on what that difference is and how we're going to be scholars at our building. Because a student does something because somebody tells them to it. A scholar does it because they really want to learn. So every day during our morning announcements, it's welcome North Star scholars, not welcome North Star students. But it's really changing that vocabulary of learning, that they understand that that building is not an ordinary place. And we are not going to build ordinary students in that building. We are going to build scholars. Thanks, Mr. Johnson.
Well, Mr. Manny, that's very impressive. It was a great news article, and you're doing great things at the North Star Elementary School. At from the education piece to the playground to the architecture to the responsibilities, this has been a real asset for us moving forward, and we're certainly glad we have the North Star Elementary School in Virginia, Minnesota. So, any questions from the rest of the council for Mr. Manny? Keep up the great work.
Thank you. The only help that I'm going to be looking for, it's not as bad in the winter, but in the summertime, our spring and summer, our building and our playground gets used a lot. It's just to be able to make sure we have a little extra protection and police presence there in the evenings and on the weekends, so we can keep some people that may try to damage our property off of our property. But that's the only thing. So, but no, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Manning. We certainly can. Our staff and our police department is very community-minded and active roles, and we have various ways to patrol those areas. And we even have bicycles available, if you believe that or not, but we do. And so we should be able to provide you some protection of the property, particularly in the summertime.
And then if there are people here that have not been in our building and would like a tour, just contact me. Come anytime. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm coming back again.
Yep, and now it's time to go to the hockey game. Because it's against Hibbing.
Go Wolverines.
That's what we're going to do, but I know.
Go Wolverines.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're going to try to be as efficient as we can so we can get there as well. So thank you, Mr. Manny, very much. Okay, we'll move on to item number 7 on the agenda, which is unfinished business, the clinic lease. As you all know, we had a special meeting today and talked about that clinic lease moving forward. And we're going to be having some additional meetings to accelerate the process and determine whether or not this building can be sold. And we're still in the investigative stage of fostering a response. So, any other questions or comments from the council with respect to this meeting today? Okay, move to item number 8, discussion items 8.1. This is a mayor appointment. Appoint at the recommendation of Dana Haltonen and the rest of the board of the HRA to appoint Amber Mayen to the Housing and Redevelopment Authority for the remainder of 1 year term for a deceased member.
So moved.
Moved to approve by Councilor Johnson. Is there support? Support. By Councilor Motley. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 8.2 is a review of the updated cannabis information. And as we go through this process, we'll start with council information and maybe some clarification from Jenny within planning and zoning and any other questions we may have from staff. We'll move left to right. Councilor Paulson.
Thank you, Mayor. And prior to the meeting, I had discussed with Britt and our city attorney, Brian, that I thank you so much, Jenny, for the chart in here, the update with the chart. I think it's wonderful. It's very easy to understand. The changes that I think I would request in terms of microbusiness, regular microbusiness with a retail endorsement, mezzo business with a retail endorsement, that those would be reflected in I-1 or I-2 locations. And if they're not with a retail endorsement, I think I would recommend having them actually in I-2 locations, especially for the mezzo. So maybe we need to go through that. And then, I'm sorry, I'm just scrolling down to the actual ordinance language. If we could have the ordinance language mirror what is actually going to be in the chart, that would be something important, I think needs to be fixed in there. And then the question that I had was, and I don't know, Britt, if we're going to go into further discussion. I know we do have, I think Pam said until spring is fast approaching, so it's not too much longer. But maybe we bring it back one more time to the committee of the whole, because I'd like to also discuss the non-potency, or is that what it's called, non-potency, or lower potency hemp edibles that are being currently sold in the city of Virginia. And some of those businesses have those products where children could reach them, and I'd like to maybe have a little bit further discussion based on that. So the three things I think would be the mezzo zoning into I-1 or I-2, and I also would need some clarification if they have a retail endorsement, what that might look like if they locate in an I-1. Do we have to include a retail portion for I-1? Because it wouldn't be my desire to have a mezzo business located in a L1 or L2, or excuse me, I-1 or I-2, and then also have them do a retail location off-site of that mezzo location. So if we could tighten those items up and maybe come back Tuesday, that would be wonderful. That would be my only other input. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilor Paulson. We'll make note of those things. And any other questions, comments with respect to the MISO and the micro and all the requested changes that came from Councilor Paulson with respect to moving it to the next committee, the whole meeting, for clarification and adding to the ordinance as we move closer and closer to adopting. Okay, Jenny, anything that you'd like to add?
Thank you, Mayor. I might need a little bit more clarification at some point on adding the chart into the ordinance and what that means or what that looks like. The chart really came from a conglomerate of state information, and then what we have drafted in the ordinance on where things would or would not be allowed. So I might just need a little bit follow-up at some point, working with council and staff on that.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Jenny. Okay, anything else with respect to the item number 8.2 with regard to the updated cannabis information? Okay, thank you. We'll move to item 8.3 is adopt a resolution to apply for and accept funds from the Department of Iron Range Resources for the Virginia Facility Renewable Energy Project Phase 1.
So moved.
Move to approve by Councilor Johnson. Is there support?
Support.
By Councilor Freely. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 8.4, adopt the resolution to enter into an agreement with the Minnesota Department of Transportation for state aid projects.
So moved. Support.
Move to approve by Councilor Freely, supported by Councilor Johnson. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 8.5, approve the cooperative construction agreement with the Minnesota Department of Transportation, the City of Virginia, and the City of Evlith and St. Louis County.
So moved.
Move to approve by Councilor Motley. Is there support?
Support.
By Councilor Freely. Is there any further discussion? Councilor Johnson.
We have just a little bit of clarity at what this four-partner agreement, where it is, please.
This is the Borgen Road and Highway 53 reconstruction. And because it's actually all of 53 from Hattrick Road up past the Dairy Queen, Midway Drive almost, it's all three entities are doing one agreement.
Thank you, Britt.
Okay, thank you, Britt. Councilor Johnson. It's been moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 8.6, approve the quote from Drake's Diesel for the repair of a 2019 Ford ambulance diesel engine at a cost of $35,189.53. This apparently is still a usable ambulance. It's got some life left in it. The new ambulance is around $350,000, so this is a needed repair for the for one of our ambulances.
So moved.
Move to approve by Counselor Johnson. Is there support?
Support for discussion.
By Counselor Motley for discussion. Further discussion, Counselor Motley.
I'm just wondering where the funding will be coming for this. Sherry?
Me and Britt had discussed that we'll take it out of the contingency fund for now.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Counselor Paulson.
Thank you, Mayor. So on the actual invoice itself, it says something, I don't know mechanics, but it says engine long block. Was there something wrong with the engine? And if so, since that was it says it's a 2019, would we still have warranty on the engine? It's only five years. Do you not have a warranty? Do we buy a warranty?
Well, we should check on it to see if
Yeah.
it's under warranty, but 2019 has a significant amount of miles, which likely will be way beyond what would allow, but this is a diesel engine, so we should check on that.
I would recommend checking on that, but I would also say if we're going to make purchases in the future, that we should look into extending extended warranties. If the cost on this is $35,000 after a 5-year, it doesn't even state the mileage on our engine.
Yeah, and this engine block is the block is actually the meat of the engine, where the engine comes in.
That's what I'm
right?
assuming that was.
Yeah.
But I don't know mechanics very well.
Yes, so,
But I would think that if it's your engine block, that would be a warranty issue, but maybe it's not covered past 3 years, I don't know. But can we wait to check on that before making the payment? Or no, or this has already been serviced, so we would have to see.
About getting reimbursement. I do know the ambulance has 180,000 miles, but I will check for sure.
Okay.
To verify.
Okay, thank you for that.
And I just for everybody else's information, I want to point out the actual labor is only 9,000. The rest of this bill is parts, so it's just parts are really expensive. You know, it's.
thank you. Thank you for that, Counselor Paulson. Has been moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. New addition, item 8.7, a memo from the Office of Chief of Police regarding a replacement of a total unmarked detective squad, number 8. And for the public's edification, on 11/15/2024, at 4:12 in the morning, Detective Thompson was on a call detective. He was responding to a Virginia for a stabbing assault. He collided with a deer in an unmarked 2016 Chevy Impala. The Impala was totaled. Insurance company, by the insurance company, the League of Minnesota Cities paid $21,780 for that loss. The police department needs to replace squad number 8. They searched all over the dealerships in this area and could not find anything that was amenable except one vehicle from, I think, from one of the local dealers that was red. And so they were searched all the local dealers, approximately $2,000 to $4,000 higher than in central Minnesota dealers. So the police department located 2022 Chevrolet Blazer all-wheel drive engine with 29,302 miles on it, priced at $29,797. This does not include licensing fees for the vehicle. And you have a description in your packet here about the Carfax. The request by the police department, recommendation of our staff is to approve or the purchase of this vehicle as a replacement for the total unmarked vehicle. The remaining part of the difference between the total was provided by the insurance company, and what's left to be purchased will come out of the regular police department's budget. Any questions? Councillor Paulson.
Thank you, Mayor. So does this need to still be outfitted with the police gear in the interior?
It's an unmarked detective squad car, so the radio system would have to be transferred into the thing with the subliminal or the lighting system in the front of the grill. But it will need a complete bar system or.
Are we able to use, I guess my question would be, are we able to use what was in the old car so we wouldn't be purchasing new? Is that correct?
That's my
Okay.
understanding.
Yes, correct.
It was the frame was damaged on the other.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Paulson. Councillor Motley?
Just a random question. Do our police detectives use these cars as personal take-home for random things or just for work purposes only?
They don't, but if the detective is on call and he gets called out, and the on-call detective has a car, only when they're on call. And he was on call and then responded to a felony stabbing, and that's why he was at 4:12 in the morning.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
I will move the purchase of the Chevy Blazer.
Thank you. Moved by Councillor Johnson and supported by Councillor Motley. Is there any further discussion? After? No further discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Sherry?
Mayor, if I can just answer Councilor Paulson's question, I did text Public Works Director Jim Rossovett about that engine. Yeah, and I did get a response back. Oh, I'm sorry. Did get a response back. He said, no, it is not under warranty. The reason the intercooler, now I'm not a mechanic, so follow me on this. The intercooler on the ambulance went out and leaked antifreeze into the motor, which caused it to blow up. So, no fault of the motors.
Okay, well, thank you for that. Okay. Anything else on the police car purchase? Move to item 9, committee reports. Item 9.1, the committee of the whole meeting that was held on January 21st, 2025. We'll turn this portion of our city council meeting to our city administrator, Britt C. Bennis. Britt?
Thank you. On January 21st at the Committee of the Whole meeting, we had an appearance from Dana Hiltonen from the Washington Manor to discuss the budget and proposed rent increases for 2025 and 2026. She did state there was a lot of turnover for vacancy over the last year. Hiltonen discussed the purchase of the building by the HRA, which the city and the HRA are working towards to complete very soon. At that meeting, HRA requested to increase the rents by 3.5% to help with the pilot loan payments, which is the payment in lieu of taxes payments of the building once it's transferred to the HRA. It was moved and supported to approve the recommendation of the 3.5% rent increase for Washington Manor.
I will support.
Moved by Councillor Motley and supported by Councillor Johnson to approve the recommendation of 3% rent increase for the Washington Manor. Is there any further discussion? Councillor Johnson, then we'll go over to Councillor Paulson. Councillor Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor. And it's important to note that the HRA did do a pretty comprehensive study of similar units around the Iron Range, and we are still on the lower end of a monthly rent for the types of units that we are offering. So the rent increase is tough, but it's, for the long run, it's going to benefit the city as a whole as well.
Thank you. Councillor Paulson.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to publicly thank Dana Hiltonen. Every time she comes up, every January, she just has such a really wonderful presentation, and it's very easy to understand the financials of the Washington Manor. So I just wanted to publicly thank Dana. And it's never easy increasing anything, but there is a plan in the works in discussions with the HRA and the city regarding the Washington Manor. And this is one of those increases that will assist us in facilitating a potential transfer of that property. So thank you for that, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Paulson. It has been moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, opposed, motion carries. Britt?
Mr. Sean Lewis from Kraus Anderson was present to give an update on the Public Safety Center project. The roof is almost complete, and when it warms up a little bit, they will complete the rest of that, as well as the window installation, garage doors, and stud framing. I do have an update. All the floors are in, which is a great thing. We went over the budget. We reiterated the overall budget is at approximately 33 million. We are still well within budget. There is contingency funds that have been able to cover the proposed change order that we discussed on the 21st. The change order was for the request and design to help with insulation to provide a good thermal break. And they did give an update. They did receive pricing on our solar panels, and they will have a recommendation at the next committee meeting for discussion. It was moved and supported to approve change order request number 26 from Kraus Anderson for the Public Safety Center project for the roof details for a contract increase of $5,049.74.
So moved.
Support.
Moved by Counselor Freely, supported by Counselor Johnson. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries.
Alex Parrots from MnDOT was present to discuss the Highway 53 intersection and Borgen Road project, as well as the Hat Trick Avenue and 53 project. MnDOT's planning on beginning in April with the main project, and the bulk of the final project, or the bulk of the big part of the project, will begin after the school recesses. Just to give everybody a heads up, Highway 53 is going to be a real difficult travel next year, but it'll be really nice when it's done. Previously, before this meeting discussion, we did approve those agreements that Alex was referring to. So thank you. We're excited to get that started and to get Borgen Road completed. Mr. Eric Jonason was present to discuss the purchase request for the 5 personal computers for the USAR command staff in the total amount of $16,930. He explained that all the funds that would be expended on this purchase are 100% reimbursable from the state of Minnesota USAR allocation. It was moved and supported to approve the purchase. Sorry, Steve.
Sorry.
Moved by Counselor Johnson. Is there support?
Support.
By Counselor Motley. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries.
We had discussion regarding the purchase of the garbage truck for Public Works. It was moved and supported to table the discussion for purchase of the garbage truck to the next committee of the whole. However, delivery is looking to be on January 30th, 2025.
Which is this coming Thursday. Okay, thank you. Counselor Motley?
So we're looking to make a decision this evening, Britt? Okay. So correct me if I'm wrong, Sherry, but our total waste, solid waste that we made, this 2024 was $297, a little over $297,000. And this garbage truck, correct me if I'm wrong, is over $324,000.
Correct. So the balance would have to come out of the fund balance, which currently is at $434,651.
Okay, so we, for public clarification, we did not make enough money to cover the purchase of the garbage truck for this. I mean, we don't have enough money, we have to go into reserve.
Correct. We ended the year with a healthy $297,393, but we still fell short of the 324, so we would be taking out of reserves.
Okay. And then talking to city staff, leasing versus purchasing, it seems like possibly purchasing it might be in the city's best interest, regardless of what the future of the garbage looks like going forward. Is that correct?
Mayor?
Okay.
Sherry? Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Counselor
Okay.
Motley.
Okay.
I believe the interest rates on the lease were going to be a little high, about 5%. Well, if we had the money, we might as well pay it outright instead of paying that extra interest rate.
Okay. Okay. And on that, I will make the motion to approve the garbage truck.
Support.
Counselor Motley moves to approve the purchase of the garbage truck. It's supported by Counselor Freelieb. Further discussion, I know that we're going to talk about the way to pay back that fund balance as we go across the year with rates and things of that nature, so that comes for another discussion moving forward. We'll move to the next part of the discussion of the motion, and that would be with Counselor Paulson. Counselor Paulson.
Thank you, Mayor. I do have a question regarding point of order when it was tabled. It says moved by Counselor Motley, supported by Counselor Beyondich to table discussion for more information for the purchase of the garbage truck to the next committee of the whole. Motion carried. So we do have 2 members not present this evening, and it was tabled, and I believe it was, I don't know if the motion was carried unanimous. I don't know what the votes were, but what is that point of order if it was tabled to a specific point in time, which is the committee of the whole next week?
Mr. Lindsay?
Thank you, Mayor. So the way that I understand the posture that we're on, the new information that we've received is that it's expected to be delivered this week. And I think that given that new information, the issue could be recalled to the table. It is a difficult position. It's more of an emergency power, essentially. I think we need to make a decision, or my understanding at least is that the decision about acquiring it needs to be made before it gets delivered here. So, but generally in the normal course, without that additional information that creates that exigent circumstance, then a tabling motion would take it out to the next committee of the whole for discussion.
And what happens when, what do we need if not all members are here present and someone doesn't support this, then what happens?
We have a court. Mr. Lindsay?
Mayor. So it would go with a standard vote, the prevailing, so long as the prevailing vote is enough votes to carry the motion. The fact that we have absent members wouldn't affect the validity of that vote because we do have a quorum.
So it's not a 5-2 requirement for spending money, I thought it was.
It is. It would be 5-2 would be
So
required.
we're missing 2 people, and if one person doesn't vote for that, what happens?
Mr. Lindsay?
Thank you. But based on the requirements of our council, if one person present at the meeting tonight votes no, the motion would fail.
Thank you, Councilor Paulson. So it has been moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Councilor Motley?
Interesting information. The reason I changed, I guess, from the tabling from last week prior was I didn't think the delivery was coming this soon. Until this packet came out and it said this Friday. So that kind of changed things for me, but what happens if it fails, Brian?
Brian? Mr. Lindsay?
Thank you, Mayor. So technically, if the motion to acquire, to purchase the garbage truck fails, we wouldn't have an authorized expenditure, which doesn't necessarily mean that the truck's not coming on Thursday this week. It may still be delivered. I don't know what the progress is of that delivery or the status. The challenge from a legal standpoint, and not to get too far into it, this is one of those circumstances where the Uniform Commercial Code would apply, and we have, the way that I understand it, this was a special order truck that was built specifically for the city of Virginia, so we may run into some challenges from the vendor if they come looking for payment. But from a procedural matter, from a procedural standpoint, the answer to the question is, if the vote doesn't pass, then we haven't authorized the payment.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Motley. Councilor Paulson?
Mayor, I'm not comfortable voting in favor of this, and I don't want to hold this up. That's why I'm asking the process. And I believe we did get it clarified. There was no penalty. It wasn't spec'd out specifically, I think, for the city of Virginia. So there wasn't I don't think there was a penalty on there. I think that was what our Jim Rosfit said last meeting, that they were actually listening to our last meeting, and I don't think there was anything in the contract. I don't want to hold anything up, but I need to understand the financial picture better than I do now in order to approve this large purchase. So I don't know where that leaves us, Brian, and I'm sorry to put that on you, but in good conscience, I just feel like I need to have a little bit more information, and maybe if the other two counselors were here, me saying no wouldn't mean anything. But they're not, so I don't know how to deal with that.
What do you want to know?
Mayor?
Yes,
Counselor Paulson, you'll see down on the bottom there, it says fund balance, 400 and, what was the number? 400 and something. And then you'll see just below it, current year end or current ending for this year. That's our profit for this year of $297,000 some odd dollars. Add those two together, you're close to $700,000. You have enough money in reserves with this year's, with 2024's profit to cover that $324,000 truck.
Counselor Paulson.
Thank you so much, Sherry, for this information, and I'm not going to go backwards, but the information we talked about last time is different from this information, so thank you for the clarification, and I think we can move forward.
Thank you, Counselor Paulson. It has been moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Next item, please.
Thank you. We had a discussion regarding our travel request, our travel policy. It was moved and supported to allow staff to work with the marketing department at the Iron Trail Motors Event Center to add a reference to the required travel for that position in the travel policy.
So moved.
Move to approve by Counselor Johnson. Is there support? Support. By Counselor Freely. Is there any further discussion? Counselor Paulson.
Thank you, Mayor. And I just want to, when staff is discussing this, I think my main thing, Britt, is just that there's differentiation between day-to-day travel and then anything that you're going to attend a convention or a conference on behalf of. And if you could come back with that would, with the
Yeah,
differentiation.
and I don't want to use the word incidental travel, but there's, yeah, I get what you're saying.
Thank you so
100%.
much.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Counselor Paulson. It has been moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
We did make a motion that to move forward with the recommendation of the Personnel Committee on the appointment of commissioners. That will be at the next item under 9.2. So we did move on to discussion regarding the floodplain ordinance. We do need to have a public hearing before we pass the ordinance with a deadline of March 25th, 2025. So we are seeking a motion to set a public hearing for the floodplain ordinance on Tuesday, February 4th, 2025 at 8:30 a.m.
Make that motion.
A motion by Counselor Motley to approve. Is there support? Support. By Counselor Freely. Is there any further discussion? Counselor Johnson.
Could you repeat that date again, please, Britt?
February 4th,
Thank you.
8:30 a.m.
Hey, is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
We reviewed the cannabis ordinance, which we discussed again today. We will be getting the additional information together and bringing it back to the council. We discussed the solid waste ordinance. And the new solid waste ordinance actually affects 3 different parts of the code. It was discussed and moved and supported to approve the solid waste ordinance draft for additional discussion.
Counselor Motley?
For Britt, did anyone have any input on the ordinance since the last meeting?
I did not get any input, no.
Okay, then I'd like to move to approve the motion to approve the first reading.
Okay, Counselor Motley moves to approve the solid waste ordinance draft for first reading. Is there any support?
I'll support.
Is there support by Counselor Paulson? Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Was moved and supported to proceed with the concessionaire agreement and make a formal offer with the terms as amended for the Iron Trail Motors Event Center.
Moved.
Support.
Moved by Counselor Motley, supported by Counselor Johnson. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
No.
Roll call, please, Pam.
Cuffey,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Motley,
Yes.
Paulson.
Aye.
Beyondich and Bachschnider are both absent. Friedlieb.
No.
Does that motion fail? The concessionaire contract with money being approved, or is that approved? It passes 4-1. Thank you.
It was moved and supported to direct staff to prepare a request for proposals or an RFP for animal control services.
So moved.
Move to approve by Counselor Johnson. Is there support?
Support.
By Counselor Paulson. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Final item from that meeting, it was moved and supported to allow the Park and Recreation Director to proceed with negotiations with the Rock Ridge Youth Hockey for use at the Iron Trail Motors Event Center.
So moved.
Move to approve by Counselor Motley and supported by Counselor Johnson. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
No further items from that meeting.
Thank you. Well, moving to item 9.2, the Personnel Committee that was held on January 21st, 2025. And Personnel Chair, Counselor Paulson, did you want to give that report, or would you like me to do so?
I will defer to you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Counselor Paulson, as Chair of the Personnel Committee, I will report for you. Item 9.2 is under Personnel is item 9.2A, reappoint Bruce Johnson to the Virginia Public Utilities Commission for a 3-year term ending January 31st, 2028.
So moved.
Move to approve by Counselor Motley. Is there support? Support. By Counselor Friedlieb. Is there any further discussion? Counselor Johnson.
Thank you. I see 2 reappointments to the Utilities Commission. Were there other applicants for the utilities? There were not. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor Johnson. Moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 9.2B, reappoint Jeff Marwick to the Virginia Public Utilities Commission for a 3-year term ending January 31st, 2028.
So moved.
Move to approve by Counselor Motley. Is there support?
Support.
By Counselor Paulson. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 9.2C, reappoint Jacob Littler to the Planning and Zoning Commission for a 3-year term ending January 31st, 2028.
So moved.
Move to approve by Counselor Johnson. Is there support?
Support for
By
discussion.
By Counselor Motley for discussion. Further discussion, Counselor Motley.
Was there anybody else that applied for planning and zoning? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. No further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. 9.2D, appoint Wendy Summers to the Charter Commission for a 4-year term ending January 28, 2032? 2030. Okay, my math was, 2030.
Moved.
Moved by Counselor Motley, supported by? Support. Counselor Friedlieb. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries. Item 9.2E, appoint Nick Bakhtiari to the Park and Recs Commission for a 3-year term ending January 31st, 2028.
Moved.
Moved by Counselor Motley to approve. Is there support? By Counselor Paulson. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 9.2F, appoint Tammy Speltz Berglund to the Park and Recs Commission for a 3-year term ending January 31st, 2028.
So moved.
Moved to approve by Counselor Johnson. Is there support?
Support.
By Counselor Paulson. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 9.2G, reappoint Jenny Marquardt to the Park and Rec Commission for the remainder of a 3-year term ending January 31st, 2026.
So moved.
Moved to approve by Counselor Motley. Is there support?
Support.
Support by Counselor Johnson. Is there any further discussion?
Here.
Counselor Friedli.
We have some fine candidates for this Park and Rec Commission, but I do want to just take a moment to publicly thank Mike Mohar for his many years of service on the Park and Rec Commission, as well as his going on 50-some-odd years working the scorer's table at the Iron Trail Motors Event Center, as well as a former Miners Memorial Building. So thank you, Mike, for all that time that you've, as well as being on the planning committee for the building of the event center, for that matter. So he's been intimately involved in all of the Park and Rec dealings in this city for years. Thank you.
Yes, I echo that. He's was a phenomenal commissioner and volunteer, particularly in the Park and Recs area. So Counselor Motley.
I also want to echo Counselor Freelieb on Mike. I got to know him a little over 2 years ago when I got on the Parks and Rec as a liaison, and he will be missed, but I've enjoyed working with him over the last few years, and hopefully I'll see him sooner than later. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 9.2G, H, appoint Kathleen Salentich to the Library Commission for a 3-year term ending January 31st, 2028.
So move.
Support.
Moved by Counselor Paulson, supported by Counselor Johnson. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 9.2I, reappoint Joyce Bloomquist to the Library Commission for a 3-year term ending January 31st, 2028.
So moved.
Moved to approve by Counselor Motley. Is there support?
Support.
Support by Counselor Paulson. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Mayor?
Yes, Counselor Paulson.
So much. There was one more additional piece that we had talked about after the interviews. And we, as a committee, I don't know if we voted on that or if Pam just kind of took notes, but we would like to have all new committee members, or commission members go through training at a no-cost training, which would include, and our old members too, I think this should be just like an everybody thing. So it would be our respectful workplace, our data practice, and what other, Pam, do you remember what other? Which one? Open meeting law. Open meeting law. So I don't know if that needs to be made in the form of a motion, Mayor, so that we, when you have a commission term, you would sign off after you take the training.
Motion would be appropriate.
So I would make the motion to assign a training as, you want me to specify those three? Yeah. So respectful workplace, data practice,
Open meeting.
and open meeting for commissioners. you want to, I mean, if we've never done this before, should we just include all commissioners? Should we do it on an annual basis then? Or just as elected, whatever you want us to say.
Mayor, if I may.
Mr. Lindsay?
So the motion could be made that it would be the policy of the city that every new commission member, board or commission member would undergo each of those 3 trainings at least once during their tenure on the board or commission. And then that way it would be kind of a standing policy.
That would be the motion, Pam. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Paulson. Councillor Johnson?
I actually am in favor of an annual training. Some of our commissioners serve 9 years, and by the 9th year, there may be some lack of, and rules change too all the time. So, and I know that that would be something that would be beneficial. I know when I started 8 years ago, I went around to most of the boards, and we actually have a pamphlet somewhere in digitally stored that has some of that information. But I would prefer annually at the reorganization meetings of the commissions, but that's my preference.
Read back the motion, please.
Moved by Counselor Paulson, and I didn't get who supported that. I don't think we had a support.
We do have a support.
Supported by Counselor Johnson.
Johnson, okay.
Provide
further-
training of respectful workplace, open meeting law, and data practices to all commissions in the city once during the tenure on their commission.
Councillor Paulson?
Thank you, Mayor. What if we said, because most of these are 3 years, what if we said 1 training for every 3 year?
Yeah.
Once per term? Would that be
I
sufficient?
think that's a great compromise.
Okay, that, I would amend my motion for that. Thank you.
Okay, very good. I think we have that. It has been moved and supported to provide that training. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Any other items to come before the Personnel Committee meeting, Councillor Paulson?
No, that would be all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Move to item 10, Commission Liaison Reports. Does any councillor want to give or have a Commission Liaison report they'd like to provide today? Councillor Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor. On behalf of the Human Rights Commission, I have been asked to thank the people that have attended and spoken up at the meetings of chair and the school board in relationship with the ongoing challenges facing the BIPOC community. The Human Rights Commission would like to invite individuals and groups to attend the Human Rights Commission meetings. They are the first Monday of the month at 4:30 p.m. here. They just changed those times to be earlier to accommodate the new members' schedules. They are in our committee room, and they are open to everybody. You don't have to be on the commission to join the commission meeting and have your voice be heard. So that is from the Human Rights Commission. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Johnson. Any other commission liaison reports today? Councillor Freely.
Just a quick update on the RAMS organization, the Range Association of Municipalities and Schools. They held their reorganizational meeting on Thursday. Outgoing president Pat Maduri was replaced by Barb Calmy, a longtime school board member for Nashwauk-Keewatin. Vice President Glenn Anderson was replaced by Jim Fisher, a longtime RAMS member from McDavitt Township. And the secretary treasurer position was, the elected official was Shane Hoff, who was a counselor from Silver Bay. All 3 exceptional people. And then you've met Paul Peltier, a very dynamic person. He's poised to make this organization a very valuable asset to the city of Virginia and to the entire region as far as I'm concerned. So I think it's in very good hands. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And I would like to point out that Councillor Freely was nominated for one of those posts, and it was a nip and tuck vote, and there was a 1 vote difference. So congratulations to you for being nominated for that, being recognized for all the work you do for RAMS and for the city of Virginia. So thank you for that, Councillor Freely. Okay, any other commission liaison reports today? Seeing none, we'll move to item 11, department head reports. Move from left to right. Britt, anything else you wanted to report today?
I do not believe so, but thank you.
Okay. Anything from legal? Nothing from legal, Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Lindsay. Pam, anything from the clerk's office? Okay. Human Resources and Finance? Thank you. Community Development? Thank you, Jenny. Okay, we have another department head in the audience, Jody Grabanowski, our library director, here to give us an update. Once again, welcome, Jody.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. So happy January. It's almost February. So this week at the library, tomorrow we do have a Crafternoon. It's thumbprint painting, open for everybody. So if you have a thumb, you can come paint, or any other finger that you would like to use. So please do. So starting February is I Love to Read Month. So we have a challenge, and with this challenge, we also have a goal. And so we have these at the library. I'm going to give them to everybody who's here today. And it's No Better Time to Read, which is a winter reading program. You can still pick those up, the booklets. That's good until the end of March. But this is specifically to read. Our goal is 10,000 hours in the month of February. And so you just need to mark these off. This is 24 hours on this sheet. It's every 20 minutes you get to mark off an animal. And if you read to littles, that counts. And if we reach our goal, and you'll be able to see the goal as it rises at the library, we're gonna put the hours on the window so you can see where we are. If we hit 10,000, and I wanna say when we hit 10,000, Counselor Johnson is going to sleep or stay awake, I don't know, on top of City Hall. So you have an incentive. If you would like him to spend the night on top of City Hall, you get to do a lot of reading in February. It is a short month. You just fill out one of these, you return them to the library. We will keep track of it, and we will keep track of it on our windows so you can see where we are. The schools are going to be involved in this. We are delivering 325 of them this week, so that's just for one, I don't know which school that is going to. It might be going to Parkview. I am not sure. I just know that we had to put together packets for 325 of them. So I am just inviting everybody in the community to stop by the library, pick up your I Love to Read month. There'll be more information too, so it's because February has traditionally been this month. There'll also be some other events around that. We have a lot of events in February to promote reading. And yes, listening to books does count as reading. If you read to somebody, that counts as reading. You could probably count it for both of you. So if you have any questions, let us know. But also, I'm going to give all of you one of these too to invite you. So you don't have to fill out the whole thing. If you only do an hour, great. Bring it back in before the end of February. We will count it towards our goal. Any questions?
I guess not. Thank you. Counselor Johnson.
It'll be May before I sleep up on the roof, though, just for the record.
You don't want to do that in March?
If we hit 20,000, I'd sleep in March.
I'll lend you a buddy heater.
So yes, 10,000 hours in February. Everybody is welcome to do this. We are working with the schools. We're working with everybody. So also we do have story time on Friday. So please join us at 10:30.
Thank you, Jody. Any other department head reports to give today? Seeing none, we'll move to council reports. Does any city council want to give a report this evening? No council reports today. We'll go to item 13, which is adjournment. Bueller, anything else? Bueller? None? Okay. Thank you, everybody, for all your hard work doing the city's business. Thank you, staff, for everything you're doing for us on a daily basis. Sometimes you'll get recognized for the work you're doing. I just want to say the road crews have been doing outstanding work and doing some snow blowing, and any issues that the citizens have been brought up have been immediately taken care of by our crew. So thanks to the Park and Rec crew. And again, and I've always been at these hockey tournaments and these events of the Iron Ontario Boys Event Center over the last couple of weeks. And there was a number of people that came up and says how clean the Iron Ontario Boys Event Center is, and how friendly the staff is, and how accommodating they are. If they need something, they're right on it to help them out. So thanks to the Park and Rec for doing that as well. So, and the police and fire also for the countless hours of safe for the safety and security of our community. So thanks, everybody. We stand adjourned to our next council meeting, which is Tuesday, February 11th, 2025, and that will be chaired by our Vice Mayor, Councilor Julie Van Paulson. So thank you very much. We stand adjourned February 11th, 2025 at 5:30 PM. Thank you, everybody. We are adjourned.